Life is so busy. If you blink, you can miss something amazing. It's important to take a moment and enjoy what we have and the people around us. I'm Mo Hagan, Chief Operating Officer for CanFit Pro, and welcome to A Moment with Mo, a podcast where I will welcome some incredible guests to talk fitness and nutrition, mindset and self-empowerment, setting our goals into action, and much, much more. Now let's get chatting. Hello, and welcome to A Moment with Mo. I'm Mo Hagan, and I'm your host. It is here that we celebrate extraordinary people who inspire us all to move beyond what we think is possible. These remarkable humans generously share their stories, their personal insights, lived experiences, all in effort to help us ignite our passion, uncover our purpose, and inspire us all to lead our lives with intention. Today, we're exploring the most important and exciting topic in fitness and health and wellness these days, and that is longevity. And not simply how we add more years to our life, but how we add more life to our years. For decades, we hear and we're encouraged to stay active, to move more. But today, the science is really telling us something far more important. How we move matters as much, if not more, than how much we move. The newest research is shifting from just general conditioning to building more muscle through strength training, and all in effort to build lean muscle tissue, preserve bone density, improve our balance, improve mobility and maintain our mobility, challenge our cardiovascular system, all in ways to help people remain strong, independent, and vibrant at every stage of life. To help us unpack what this means in practical and in everyday terms, I'm thrilled to welcome back to the show someone whose career has been dedicated to helping people move beyond the illness, injury, and to help people move better through life, to live life as strong as possible. Sue Staresinic is a licensed physiotherapist whose passion for movement has helped countless people recover from, again, injury, illness, improve their function, discover confidence that comes with becoming stronger and more mobile. Sue has been a physio in practice for 29 years. She is also a national new body trainer with GoodLife Fitness, and she's been teaching group fitness at GoodLife since 2008 and new body for that entire time. So that's 18 years. I like some math, but not too much. Over the past 7 years or thereabouts, Sue's been deeply involved in the development of the New Body program. And we've been working very closely as fellow physios and fit pros, passionate about this subject matter and how this class brings it all into practical sense and experience. She brings her clinical expertise, practical experience, and passion for helping people understand that fitness is not only about today's workout, but it's all about preparing your body for the life you want to live tomorrow. What I admire most about Sue is her ability to take the latest research and make it really practical and approachable for not only instructors who teach the program, from the newest instructor to the most experienced, but to the members of all ability levels to experience the class, to understand the methodology, and to appreciate and love the program. We have so many members that have been part of New Body for its entire 35 years. And what I love, and I'm sure Sue will share as well, is we've actually been able to age along with these members for 35 years, 18 for Sue. And the one thing is in common, as we all get older, we're actually just getting fitter in all ways. Sue's been presenting at CanFit Pro Global. We're going to talk about that today as well. She's been part of the presenting team for over 10 years, both as a physiotherapist and as a Les Mills presenter and New Body presenter. So without further ado, let's welcome Sue to the show.
Hi, Mo.
Hi, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
I was reminded that you were part of our season 4, episode 2, and we were talking all about the importance of the way we should be training for heart health, and that sort of morphed into the conversation. And I felt like it was just really important to bring it all back and take from what we talked about then and go deeper into specifically this longevity that is mainstream everything in all areas. I'm sure you're finding also in healthcare, right?
Absolutely. Longevity is huge right now. Big hot topic, and it's our passion and has been for a long time. So that's exciting.
So we're going to uncover it and help everyone that's listening in today to not only become as passionate, if you're not already, but to understand the practicality behind the passion so that with purpose, we can actually bring some of this discussion into more discussions and conversations and really help move the industry and healthcare along, because that's, I know, one of your passions as a physiotherapist. Before we dive into some of the questions I want to ask today, I like a little math, not too much math, but I like to brag a little about our years of collective passion and experience. You know, I did a little math between your time as a physio and my time as a physio. I think that makes us, oh my goodness, 68 years of collective training. Oh my gosh. Yours in the practicing field and myself just bringing my physiotherapy license still to practice, bring it into the fitness industry. I won't mention our years in the industry, but it is, I guess it is worth bragging about. That's 62 years between the two of us.
Yeah. So that's longevity right there, right? A different type.
I didn't even think about that, but talking about careers and longevity and a career
longevity.
Which really speaks to when you align your purpose and your passion. It's not a job. It really is. It's a lifelong journey and a contribution to the world. So
absolutely.
Congratulations.
Same to you, Mo.
And never leave. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Well, while we have Sue, let's dive in. My first question to you, as we start talking about longevity in the sense of its definition, but we can all look that up, but I want to ask Sue about it. You know, it is a big conversation. So, we hear terms like lifespan, health span, and functional aging. We say it all the time. We hear about it. I'd love your perspective as a physiotherapist and Fit Pro. What do these terms really mean? And more importantly, what should people be, what and how should people be training if they want to age with strength, confidence, and independence?
Yeah, I think that's a great topic. When we think about longevity, we think about years of living and, how long we are alive. But when we're talking about health span, we're talking about how many of those years we have quality of life and we can do the things that we enjoy doing. And there's different levels to health span. Of course, we want to maintain independence and stay independent as long as possible as we age. So not require help to get up off the toilet and that sort of thing. But I think that maybe the reason health span is and longevity is so popular these days is that people want more than that. We want to be able to enjoy the activities that we're doing, and we want to continue to do them for years to come. So that's the difference between the longevity and the health span. So we want to be independent. We want to prevent injury, hip replacements, joint replacements, ideally, and any other types of injuries. We want to prevent fractures, but we really want to be able to perform. I know a lot of competitive people who also want to be able to compete in sport or activities or golf or curling and all sorts of things for many. So in order to be able to do that, we know that we need the basics. We need mobility. We need stamina, which is our heart health, to be able to have the endurance to continue to do these things. We need to have the strength or the power to lift heavy things, to pick up the golf bag, to carry heavy objects, pots, bags of soil, bags of mulch for people who love gardening. So we want to have the strength to be able to do those things. We want to have the stability to move well and continue to move with good technique through those activities. And in order to do that and do all those things and not fall and prevent falls, we also want to make sure that we maintain agility, we maintain power. So for example, with agility, if I'm at the gym and I'm getting changed and I catch my foot in the strap of my gym bag, I need to be able to quickly react and move my feet so that I don't stumble and fall, so that I have perhaps the stumble, but I stumble and catch instead of stumble and fall. So we want to have agility and foot speed. We want to have power so that if I do have to lunge and catch my body weight, that I have the power to decelerate and do that. So we want strength, we want power. We know that having good mobility in multiple joints is also very important for that longevity, that health span, and maintaining the independence for a long time.
Wow. It's like you saw me today in action. So in my class today, New Body, before I even got to class, I did exactly what you just said. I tripped on the handle of my side bag that I carry. I had it hanging below and I stepped to, pick up my bags and go into the class, and I tripped. And of course, I didn't trip and fall. I tripped and stumbled, and I did a graceful step lunge. And I heard everybody around me go, and I said, well, that's why we train. And then I got on stage and I was teaching a move we call a hip swing. And of course, we really help people move with correct technique, as you said. And often that compound move of coordinating that deadlift or the hinge with the squat, with the swing, especially when you're carrying weight, encouraging people to lift more. Some people were a bit struggling. And then when I applied the function, I said, listen, this is a move we use in life. We just don't even think about it as we haul bags in and up. And I said, if you travel this summer, we see people on the plane struggling to lift their bag. What I said was, I bet you some of your in-flight luggage weighs more than the plate you're lifting right now. And think about how you move and watch how other people do it. And we all had a giggle, but it was shocking. Everybody's technique seemed to improve when it was applied to something that they see or do themselves in daily living. And then the last thing, just to top it all off, I was doing a traveling move to the side and I tripped over my shoe myself. And of course, again, I went to trip, but I caught myself and I said, and again, it was like on repeat. So it really demonstrated why it's so important to train, so that when we have an oopsie, or when we're trying to do something that we don't often do, like push something heavy over our head, how we need our whole body to lift it from the ground and then push it somewhere. So I was so proud of myself for effectively demonstrating the applications of how we should train for how we wish to move in life. And, you put the theory into practice, and then I just, shared my experiences today to demonstrate and effectively demonstrate how we want to train and exert ourselves in practice so that in life we're prepared.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I couldn't resist, as you talked about that, to just bring it all to full circle.
Bring it
One
all
of the
together.
shifts all together is, that's good. We mentioned about one of the biggest shifts in fitness trends and also recommendations is strength training. We've heard it. It's been on the trends list. We know it, but I'd like to help people understand, especially women who still believe that lighter weights and higher reps are enough. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a place to start, but today we're hearing more about lifting heavier while, again, maintaining good form. So progressive training being one of the most powerful things we can do, especially as we age. So why has that message changed so much? And what do people need to understand, Sue, about building and maintaining muscle over time?
I think that the bottom line is that we now understand that we need adequate stimulus in order to build muscle. We know that muscle is our organ of longevity and our most important organ. And we know a few things about longevity and muscle. We know that one of the first muscle fibers, so we have two types of muscle fiber, fast twitch and slow twitch. So slow twitch muscle fibers are responsible for sustained activities like walking, for example, holding up your posture. The fast twitch muscle fibers are responsible for the more powerful movements. So fast twitch muscle fibers tend to deteriorate first with age. So we know that we need to be training specifically those muscle fibers in order to maintain them over time, and we need them. So power is a component of strength and speed. So it's about how much you're lifting and then also how fast you can lift it. and we
Mm.
need progressive overload. So what we need is to be lifting a weight that's challenging. And it doesn't matter if it's a small pink one, it doesn't matter if it's a resistance band. It really doesn't matter what the weight is, as long as it's a weight that's challenging to the muscle. And over time, if we stay with the same weight, our muscles will stop adapting. So then we have to keep progressing the challenge. And that might mean lifting heavier, or it might mean lifting faster or changing the exercise, so that we're constantly getting that progressive overload to help with the challenge.
Mhm.
But I think the other part of this conversation with lifting heavier is that we are aware of the importance of lifting heavy on bone. So once upon a time, years ago, for example, back when you and I were in physio school, the treatment for osteoporosis or bone density, loss of bone density, was weight-bearing exercise. And we
Mhm.
believed that a walk was enough. And now we understand that perhaps a walk is good, but there are other impact exercises. The muscles actually need more load to maintain themselves. So our bones are continually remodeling. And this is really interesting because we have within our bones, we have two types of cells. We have cells that are osteoblasts that create bone, and we have cells that are osteoclasts that break down bone. So if you can think about it like a demolition crew, you have constantly a demolition crew that's in the bones, that could think of renovating a house, that's constantly demolishing bone and breaking down bone, and then another crew that comes in to renovate. So we know that over time, for example, with menopause and a loss of estrogen,
Mhm.
estrogen has an inhibitory effect on the osteoclasts, or the cells that break down bone. So as we age and we lose that estrogen, we lose that inhibition of the breakdown of bone. So we can counteract that with exercise, because what exercise does is it slows down the demolition crew, and it also stimulates the bone building crew. So we have your loads such as weightlifting and impact exercise, we can actually build bone, and it's never too late. So muscle and bone knows use and disuse. It does not know age. So we know now from research that with adequate challenge that we can build bone at any age, which is really exciting.
Oh, so practical. Yeah, I
Mhm.
love it how bone knows use and disuse, but does not know age. Just
Bone
like
and
bone
muscle.
doesn't
Yeah,
know age until you give it the definition, right? But
right.
I love that. Love your practical sense of the bone demolition and the bone building crews.
Mhm.
That's such a great way of seeing it if you're a visual and you can visualize it. And it certainly
Yep.
should be inspiring to all that's listening or viewing this episode to really want to actually build their confidence to lift heavier and to do that in a safe and effective way. And that's what we have certified fitness professionals for, is to show you how to do that in a class setting, whether it's a group strength workout or a personal trainer in a one-on-one or small group training session. You know, you can never go wrong aligning yourself with a fit pro or a allied health professional like yourself to get that understanding, but also the guidance on where to start, how to start, and build over time so that you
Yep.
can progress in a safe and effective manner. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's all about technique for sure. So
Yep.
when we talk about building that challenge, we want to challenge the muscle in a way where we can still move with good technique. So that's really
Absolutely.
important, is to just build up that base.
Yeah. And the proof is in the performance, right? You're competitive. You play hockey. You love adventure. I set a goal to compete in a sport this year after many years of not competing, and I was able to perform because I did that bone building and muscle building over time with guidance, with a fitness professional, and anything's possible. And that's to your point earlier when you said people don't want to just live to brag about turning 80 or 90. They want to actually get out there and live life and do fun and adventurous things. You traveled with your mom just recently on a
Yes.
big trip, and you walked the whole time, I understand. And
She
while
was
that was a
so
bit,
proud,
yeah,
and she trains as well.
yeah,
She's 78 years old. She still works with a personal trainer, and she walks avidly and swims, and she was so determined we were not to touch her suitcase.
Ah,
She wanted to carry that thing herself the whole time. So it was
love
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, what is your mom's age?
78.
Woo,
Hmm.
inspiring. Oh, love
Yeah.
it. That's a great example right then and there. I mean, the proof again is in those stories and lived experiences to really bring the promise to the research that tells us what is true today. And yes, you brought me back. I remember it was enough once upon a time to say weight bearing, and now it's way beyond that. That's a
Mhm.
starting place, but way beyond that. So thank you for that. Right. One of the reasons that I brought you back to the show is because I want to talk about one of the programs that we both are so passionate about in terms of developing and bringing to the world through Good Life Fitness and the New Body class. We are also going to be presenting it at a global conference called CamFit Pro Global. And this year it's open to everyone. So those listening from wherever you are, even from outside Canada, please come. But before we dive into when you can join us, let's talk about the New Body program and what New Body does to help promote, longevity in a really practical way. It's, we recognize it's not just a workout, it's a really important conditioning class that helps bring all this research into practice. It combines the best of both functional strength training with purposeful movement, balance work, thanks to Sue. Anyone participating in the last couple of years of New Body, all that balance work comes from Sue's brain and her expertise, not to mention your expertise on how to bring mobility together, break down patterns of mobility we use in our daily life into the practical movements that make up those patterns of movement. And then, of course, your passion for cardiovascular training and bringing it all together in one workout. It sounds impossible, but it's not. And we've been building on the research and the experience with our members over the last 35 years. And people ask me, how does a program last that long? And I think after hearing you speak right now, I'm thinking, well, it is because it's being reinforced by today's longevity research and changing trends that keep supporting what we're doing. So it's like we knew it before it existed, or we are
It was
well ahead of
maybe,
our time.
it was way before ahead of its time, right? With intentional stepping and functional training before that was cool,
Yep.
before it
Yeah.
was so
Before it was
popular.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember being challenged by some of the leading uh, presenters and experts at the time, especially with upright core conditioning and postural training. And I was very much challenged, but it was good. I was reminded many times that when people challenge or criticize, it means you're on to something. So don't back down. If you believe it, then do the research and, collaborate with great talent like I did with you and Lisa back a while back. And of course, all the other experts we've brought into the program and the feedback that we get from our team and from our members. So, Sue, I want to ask you from your perspective then, both as a physio and as national new body trainer, um, not only what makes New Body such a practical or a powerful example of longevity based fitness, but what do you see coming in this longevity journey in fitness that New Body is bringing and starting to show and share with the world?
Yeah. I think that first thing that I want to say is that, yes, I have a background as a fitness professional and as a physiotherapist, but before that, my background was dance. And
Mm,
so my journey into group fitness came about because I craved moving to music in a way that's fun. And I think first and foremost, that's what New Body is. And so members can just show up and enjoy this movement to music that is just fun and exciting. And it's like the mothers who bake spinach into the brownies. we just put all the good stuff in there, and I think all the good stuff that we put in there, the agility work, the impact, the posture work, we put it in a package that's just fun and that's just really challenging in a good way that has challenges for everybody.
mhm.
So I think that that's part of the beauty of it. And every time we try to integrate an innovation, we've been actively trying now to bring in, for example, jumping.
Mm-hmm.
And we build it in a way that nobody has to jump unless they want to, but we build them and give them the confidence to do that. It's been amazing to see people of all ages, women in their 80s jumping. It's been absolutely amazing to see that and lots of fun. But whenever we bring in a new challenge like that, like jumping, or we've been striving to bring in more agility work, it really brings a layer of fun and creativity and novelty to the workout. So there have been lots of benefits that way. So I think the more we try to pull from the research and bring these things into the workouts, it really just gives it more fun, gives it more variety.
I
I
love it.
think that, yeah, and I think that more and more now what we're seeing in the future, if you come back to New Body in 5 years, you're going to see more 80-year-olds jumping because we've trained them, we've given them the skills. Now, you can't just start jumping without having the basics of having a good, strong squat, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been teaching them that for years, how to squat with good technique and good alignment. It's one of our New Body methods. So we build on that and give them the confidence to do things like jump, which is great for their bone density. So I think in 5 years, if somebody was to just walk into a New Body class and look, I think they'll be amazed at what people can do when you train them and give them the foundation and how people will be able to move over time.
I love it. Love it. Love it. And yeah, that happened today. I had some very young teenagers in the class, and the 80-year-olds moved better
Sometimes
and had
that's
more
the case.
stamina. Yes, indeed. Felt like a proud mama. And they all felt proud too. I'm sure the teenagers, I'm not sure how they felt, but they were there and they were smiling and giggling because they were moving to music and they were there together, and it was great to see. And of course, maybe someone dragged them along like their mom or their aunt or their grandma, because, that's the generations that we see in classes today, which is also fascinating to see that and see people training multi-generationally. Yeah, it inspires the next generation for sure. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that. You said it so well. I loved how you took it back to your first passion of moving to music. Fabulous. And then let's touch, I know we talked about this in our episode 2 of the 4th season of A Moment with Mo, but I want to talk about just the science where cardiovascular training continues to evolve. We've heard, again, so many years or decades of slow and steady training, steady state cardio. Now research, of course, is highlighting the importance of maintaining aerobic fitness, but also incorporating higher intensity levels or interval training. Maybe you can help us highlight to understand that importance and how people can safely incorporate that into their workouts.
Right. So this can be a little bit intimidating, I think, when people are maybe scrolling on the internet or on social media. It can be a little bit confusing because we talk about zone 2 training and then we talk about HIIT training. Your zone 2 training is essentially that sustained aerobic activity where you be able to maintain a conversation, essentially. So it's a level of physical activity where, yes, you are exerting, but you can do that over a prolonged period of time without getting excessively winded. So if you were walking with your friend, it would be a brisk walk, but you would be able to maintain that conversation. And in contrast to that is more vigorous types of activity, like your HIIT training, where you're getting somewhat breathless and pushing the comfort zones. We used to encourage people to get 10,000 steps a day. And interesting, the background of that, the 10,000 steps a day was never based in research. It actually came from a pedometer company that was trying to sell pedometers. So that's where that came from. And it was great. And it obviously gets people moving. And certainly any steps are better than sitting on the couch. So we definitely want to encourage people to keep moving. The other thing that we want to do is make sure that physical activity is enjoyable. So for somebody who's not been physically active, who starts fitness, to do a HIIT class would probably not be very pleasant for them. The other thing is that sometimes those sensations of the sensation of working really hard and getting breathless can make somebody feel anxious. So if somebody's not accustomed to that physical activity level of feeling your heart racing or feeling flushed or feeling short of breath, it can trigger those emotions. So zone 2 training, that aerobic endurance, it definitely has its place to help create that base. However, we also know that the more vigorous that getting adequate, vigorous physical activity is exponentially beneficial in terms of reducing risk of all-cause mortality, which means dying of any cause, and also helps reduce risk of developing illnesses and diseases such as cancer. So we know that 10 minutes of vigorous exercise is exponentially beneficial in those regards. So we want to build the base, and then we want to encourage people to, at all ages, to challenge themselves as long as they can do so safely and to get that vigorous physical activity. So it's not just about the number of steps per day, but it's about the vigor of those steps.
Very good. And brings us back again to the definition of longevity. It's not how long you live, it's how you live those years. And it's the quality. And of course, again, it's not how many steps, but what you put into the effort. So well said. And I've been taking notes. I'm sure our listeners, viewers are doing the same, because it just, reminds us, puts things together, and reminds us that we make that effort. It does contribute exponentially, as you said, which is motivating in itself. So I love that. Makes me want to go move after this. So I've been to the gym.
Run up the stairs.
I do. And it's kind of like,
up the stairs. Right?
Exactly. Just even 10 minutes, but go hard, because I've built that base, and that's just a really fun little extra. Yeah. Earn that glass of vino later, maybe.
Research shows even 1 minute of vigorous exercise has benefits.
Lots of benefits.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. Love it. All right. Before we close, I like to occasionally with my guests, ask a few rapid fire questions.
Okay.
The first one, what should I say? If someone had time for just 3 workouts each week, I can't imagine, but if you only had time for 3, what would your ideal longevity focused training week look like, Sue? If you only had 3 workouts a week.
So yeah, that's a tough question. It depends on a lot of things. Obviously, if somebody really wanted something easy, if they can longevity focused, if you can fit a new body class or 2 in there, then you're going to get the whole package. You're going to get your impact, your cardio, your strength. You're going to get some agility work. You're going to get some brain gym, which we haven't talked about, Mo, but we get people's brains working. We also know that the physical activity actually helps grow certain parts of the brain. So they're going to get that. So you'll get the whole package. It's like a multivitamin. Okay. So if you can fit 1 or 2 nude body classes in there, then that would be awesome. I think that essential would be a couple strength training workouts per week. And if you're short on time, then combining strength training exercises, an upper body, a lower body, and then a recovery, an upper body, a lower body, and a recovery in that structured type of format can allow you to get the heart rate up and be time efficient. So compound exercises as well, working the big muscle groups, things like squats and push-ups can help get the heart rate up, because we know we want that strength, and we also want that the stamina, right? The strength and the endurance. So I think my short answer would be a 1 or 2 new body classes, 1 or 2 strength training workouts. And then I would encourage them, get your walking in. If you can walk to run an errand, if you can park to the back of the parking lot, if you can get out before your coffee and go around the block for 10 minutes. So just try to get some cardio in within your day, that our exercise doesn't all have to be structured 1 hour stints at the gym. So I think if people can just integrate more movement into their everyday lives, then that would just give them the whole package.
Love it. Yeah. I really am one for taking my meetings in the street, like walking and talking. At CanFit Pro, we have a walkie-talkie challenge for the month of June. It's our way of celebrating National Health and Fitness Day, but we take it the whole month. And of course, there's a little competition for how many total steps people do, but it was a way of just getting out, having one of your meetings, earbuds, and just walk and talk. And it becomes a habit. People realize that they enjoy, and they're as much more productive. And it's really good for memory too, because you can't take notes and walk, although I've tried. But it helps you. Then you come home and you have to download what you talked about, and it's really good for memory recall. Awesome. So now that I've said it out loud, I have to do it even more, because we can get caught our butts in a seat and get comfortable with that. For those who spend a lot of their week behind a screen, at their desk, in a chair, take 1 meeting a day on the road, going for a walk. And that's how you can actually add years to your life, and also a great way to inspire your colleagues to get active too.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Next rapid fire. What are you personally doing these days to keep fit, healthy, and living strong?
Well, for my cardio, I get my cardio from New Body.
Okay.
And I play hockey. Not very well, but we enjoy it. And hockey is great hit training because you get on the ice and skate hard, and then get off the ice and rest and recover and do it again and rewind and repeat. So hockey has been a great way for me to get my hit training.
Good.
And so that's my cardio. My strength training, I get some of that from New Body. And I also get some strength training on my own as well. Although New Body is fantastic, as you know, Mo, when we're teaching, we don't always get to work at our own level. Sometimes we have to demonstrate all the levels of exercises, but then model the level that most of our participants require. So I don't always get to challenge myself ideally in the classes. So I do 2 strength training sessions a week on my own. I try to get those on my lunch hour. If I can, which is great. It just breaks up my day. So half an hour twice a week of strength training. And then I also do body balance for my mobility and recovery. So that's what I do in terms of exercise. And trying to keep eating well and maintaining all the social connections and managing stress, prioritizing sleep.
That's
we all do our
part of
best,
it.
right?
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's part of it, is all the what we do to fuel our body and rest our body for recovery, and the social connections. You mentioned that. That is a key. They're actually doing a lot of research around social connection and longevity as well. And people say,
important.
it's the connections and the relationships and socialization is as important. That's why group fitness has always been so popular and remains so, even during the toughest times like the pandemic, when people couldn't work out together. It's one thing they couldn't wait to come back to.
Yeah, it really helps people maintain their consistency, which we know is so important too. They hold each other accountable, and that's amazing.
Oh, yes. They hold each other as accountable as the instructor does, or the member to the instructor. Like my message, where have you been, Mo? Like I was off for the last couple of weeks. So they hold accountable too. Love that.
They do.
Well, that is the bell. That is where we need to wrap up. So I just want to start by thanking you for sharing incredible knowledge in such a practical way, and reminding us that healthy aging is not about slowing down at all. It's about becoming stronger, more resilient. You've used that word so brilliantly in many ways, and intentional in how we move. The science is clear. Muscle does matter. Movement matters. Balance matters. Cardio fitness matters. And most importantly, it's never too late to begin.
Absolutely.
That is one thing that is so important today. A lot of people do have that sort of, it's a myth we have to debunk, as well. Is it too late to start? I'm this age or that age. And it's like all more important to start, right? You're shaking your head, you're nodding. Yeah. And I hope this conversation, friends, has helped you to rethink the way you train. We'd love to invite you to experience these principles in action. If this conversation has inspired you to rethink about the way you train, we'd love you to experience not only New Body, but just what your community, fitness, whatever it is that will connect you to training, whether that's in a group setting or one-on-one. Encourage you to check it out. Do something for yourself that really moves you to the next level in your quality of life. And you're also welcome to join Sue, myself, and our team on stage at ChemFit Pro Global this August 15th in Toronto. It's our New Body Move for Life special session on Saturday, again, the 15th of August at 11 a.m. And it's open to everyone. So open to the delegates that register for the conference, but also consumers. Listen up, fitness enthusiasts alike. You can go to chemfitpro.com/global and find out more information. Check out the one-day rate, which will allow you to select sessions in the Les Mills Experience event, which is where New Body can be found. And you not only get to experience the class, but a full day in the trade show where you can learn and participate in lectures, activities, and activations that are brought to you by the leading fitness vendors, exhibitors, sponsors from around the world. We'll be able to show you what New Body's all about if you've not experienced it before. And until next time, we just want to leave you with this thought. Again, back to my opening message about adding more strength and more energy, more confidence, and more possibility to every year you live. I'm Mo Hagan, and this is Sue Staresinic. And I'm sure, Sue, you'll agree with me. A good message to leave would be keep moving, keep growing, and keep becoming more of who you're meant to be. And until next time, all the best. And thanks, everyone, for joining us today.